Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. You may have seen a video I made recently, only a day ago actually, where I sort of went through Zhang's potential opponents. Zhang is nearly 40. As you know, he scored that big victory over Joe Joyce at the weekend. So I was going through his, every leading heavyweight and saying what are the chances of him fighting them, what are the chances of him beating them, and Zhang, as the winner of Saturday's fight, there aren't really that many options open to him. Not really. Not when you consider, who's going to fight him. And he is, like I say, he's virtually on his 40th birthday. I think in a couple of weeks he turns 40. But of course, the same question could be asked of Joe Joyce, because Joyce himself has just turned 37. And after that very bad defeat, time's not exactly on his side, and what are his options? So I thought I'd do pretty much the same thing with Joe Joyce that I did with Zhang, and go through the heavyweights and see what his chances are of fighting them and what his chances are of beating them. So let's go through them then. Let's start with the obvious ones. Tyson Fury. Now that Joyce has been beaten, I wouldn't rule out the possibility of Fury at some point facing Joyce, now that he knows that the power can be contained and the pressure can be contained, and Fury at this point of his career likes everything weighted in his favour. He might look at Joyce and think, yeah, all right, he's an easy touch. If Zhang did that to him, I've got skills that at least match Zhang. I can beat him. So I wouldn't rule out further down the line a possibility of Joyce, after maybe a comeback win or two, facing Fury. That's if Fury's still around, of course. And of course, they're both promoted by Frank Warren, so that would be a relatively easy fight to make if they want it. Alexander Usyk. We all know Usyk will face anyone. What are the chances of him fighting Joyce? Well, Joyce, of course, because he was WBO interim heavyweight champ, he had the inside track to face Joyce. He's now lost that belt to Zhang, who takes over that inside lane. I think Usyk would beat Joyce. I thought that before Joyce lost to Zhang. What are the chances of it happening? I mean, people forget Usyk's 36 and Joyce is 37, so I don't know. Chances of it happening, again, in a year or two, I wouldn't rule it out. It's possible. So yeah, maybe. Anthony Joshua. I don't think Joshua's people will let Joshua anywhere near Joyce anytime soon, even though Joyce has been beaten. I think his style is probably wrong for Joshua. Because no matter what you say, I mean, Zhang was pinging those backhand southpaw lefts off Joyce's face and jaw, and even though he was rattled and he wobbled, he didn't hit the floor. So could Joshua hurt him? You catch anyone clean, you can hurt them, but I don't know. I think Joshua's people would look at that fight and say he's too big, he's too powerful, too physically strong. It's the wrong fight for Joshua. Andy Ruiz, yeah, fast, another guy with fast hands. I don't know whether Joyce's people would fancy that. I mean, he can be. I can see Ruiz perhaps outpointing Joyce, certainly over 10, perhaps even over 12. So I don't know. Yeah, would it be made? Again, there aren't really any connections with Ruiz's team and Warren's team, so I don't know. I don't know about that one. That's kind of a bit of a question mark over that one, I think. Deontay Wilder versus Joyce. The impenetrable chin against the atom bomb of a right hand would be interesting. It's possible Joyce could walk down Wilder, but you've got to wonder how much of a crack Zhang has put into that chin. Because sometimes, I mean, as with Dillian White, when he took all those full-blooded punches from Joshua in that fight, even though he got knocked out, he took a hell of a wallop. Even in the first round, he was shipping severe punishment. And further down his career, his punch resistance seemed to completely go. Is the same thing going to happen with Joyce now that his chin's been cracked by Zhang? Although, again, I repeat, he didn't go down, so I don't know. It'd be a fun fight, though, Deontay Wilder and Joe Joyce. Woo-wee, yeah. The much, much bigger man, of course, is Joyce. But could he walk down Wilder? It's perfectly feasible, but it's he'll be sort of tiptoeing through a minefield doing it. And he's not difficult to find, Joyce, with the punches, you know. There again, Wilder's an orthodox fighter, Zhang wasn't, and Joyce didn't look like he'd ever seen a southpaw in his life before against Zhang. He's walked down plenty of orthodox fighters. But, yeah, definitely an interesting fight. Would it happen? I wouldn't rule it out. See, Wilder, what is he, 37? See, they're both 37. A lot of these heavyweights are not young men anymore. So I wouldn't rule that out. Dillian Whyte against Joe Joyce. I would definitely pick Joyce to beat Whyte. I think Whyte's punch resistance is shot to bits. I think Joyce has probably got more than enough left in his chin to take even Whyte's left hook. I think he walk Whyte down, grind him down, knock him out. That'll be a good comeback fight for Joyce, actually. Very good comeback fight. Luis Ortiz, what is he now, 54 or something? 44, he reckons he is. Yeah, you can add another 10 years on that. Yeah, I wouldn't. If Joyce has got anything left, he should be beating someone of that age. Ortiz has been knocked out twice by Wilder. Is still a very good boxer, but he did get outpointed and I think floored by Ruiz. So, yeah, Ortiz versus Joyce. I think Joyce will walk him down and stop him. Rematch with Daniel Dubois. Well, they're both promoted by the same promoter, so I think it'll be the same result as the first fight, probably quicker. I think Dubois looked very, very vulnerable, you know, really alarmingly vulnerable against Lorena. I know he fell over and broke his leg or whatever, but punch to the top of the head from Lorena really had Dubois all over the shop. No, I don't think that fight will happen unless they want to do a cash out. Warren decides he wants to cash out Dubois, or both maybe, I don't know. But they both need building up again to make that rematch attractive. Filip Hrgović, I wouldn't put Joyce anywhere near him. See, as I said when I did the Zhilei Zhang video yesterday, I think that Hrgović is good, but is actually overrated. I think he's a good fighter. Definitely belongs in the top 10, but I'm not as sold on him as a lot of other people are. And I didn't like a lot of his body language and attitude in the Zhang fight, which he won. But in the middle rounds, he looked all at sea. Maybe there was something wrong with him, I don't know. Maybe it was a bad day at the office, possibly. Don't forget, Zhang drew with Jerry Forrest. And it now seems that was a legitimate reason why he drew, because he said he had problems with his kidneys, he was dehydrated. And it turned out that, yeah, it was a legitimate reason rather than an excuse. Maybe Hrgović had something wrong with him when he fought Zhang. I don't know. But I would pick him to outpoint Joyce, but he wouldn't have it all his own way. And if Joyce could put it on him, I'd be very, very interested to see how Hrgović reacted to being under serious pressure. But I would pick him to outpoint Joyce, unless there's another eye injury stoppage or something of that nature. Of course, we should point out that Joyce has a rematch clause with Zhang. I don't think he'll go anywhere near it. Well, he might do. Again, it may be at his age, Warren is thinking I'll cash him out, because Warren has never been particularly sold on Joyce. I've never got the impression he really cares about Joyce, even though he bought his contract out. He's always been a Dubois man. I found that odd. Even when Joyce beat Dubois, he seemed to sort of favour Dubois, probably because of the age. A rematch with Zhang. So if the eye injury hadn't happened, would Joyce have caught up with Zhang? Because Zhang's gas tank is supposedly a little bit small, shall we say? Be interesting, wouldn't it? I'd watch the rematch, but probably I think Joyce's team are going to take him down a different pathway. Back-to-back defeats to Zhang would be maybe not a career ender, but would definitely damage his reputation for good, I think. So, yeah, you know, I suppose there's that option, but I'm not keen. He's already beaten Parker, so we can discard him. Chisora, got to be at the end of his career, Chisora, especially after that hammering from Fury. A comeback fight for Joyce, maybe, if he wanted. God, can you imagine? Imagine Derek getting smashed to pieces by the Juggernaut. Oh, painful, painful. And then you got, you know, Frank Sanchez. No, probably outpoint Joyce, I think. Good test for Sanchez, though. I'd make Sanchez a clear favourite in that. But Coley and Joyce, that'd be interesting. That wouldn't be a bad fight, actually, Styles, yeah. Yeah, I can see Bacoli either being stopped late or maybe outpointing Joyce. That wouldn't be a bad fight, thinking about it. The way the styles gel. And, of course, Bacoli is based in Britain, so... yeah, I quite like that one. And that's a possibility. That could be made. That could be made. Arsenbeck, Makhmudov, undefeated, only 16-0, so... against Joyce, I don't know. Yeah, it'd be an explosion, wouldn't it? Two big lads throwing bombs. I've got to favour Makhmudov though. Just better skills, all-round skills. I'll tell you a good one for Joyce. A good opponent for Joyce would be F.A. Ajagba. I think that would be a very interesting fight because Ajagba, I mean, both have been accused of being robotic. And Ajagba hasn't been done anything since he was outpointed by Sanchez. So I think that would be a very, very good option for Joyce. Ajagba only beaten once. He's currently 17-1. So yeah, why not? Otto Wallin's in the mix, isn't he? I'd pick Joyce to beat him. Probably to come from behind after 6 rounds. And would he stop him? With Joyce, you never know. But I think he'd make up the deficit and then probably outpoint Wallin if it did go to points. I think Wallin's he's been living a bit too much off the Fury, going the distance with Fury for a bit too long now. He needs to step up to the plate. Jared Anderson against Joe Joyce. Nah. Would be interesting because Anderson really, really looks the part, but has been ending all his fights early, and he's got to really show some. He's got to show that he can do it over the distance, 10 rounds at least. I think it's the wrong fight for Anderson at the moment. Probably the right fight, or more the right fight for Joyce. Although I wouldn't rule Anderson out. I'm quite high on Anderson. I think he's a very, very good fighter. And he's only 23. So yeah, those are the options really. I can't think of anyone I've missed out. But how many of them are realistic propositions that are being made? If I could wave a magic wand, I would say Ajagba and Joyce would be a very good fight probably for both men. A typical crossroads fight. Yeah. For some reason, Hrgovic and Joyce interests me. But really, because I want to see what Hrgovic is made of, rather than Joyce. Because if Joyce beat Hrgovic, I'd be mildly surprised. If Hrgovic outpointed Joyce, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Bacoli and Joyce, that would be interesting. I think that could probably be made. Yeah. And then if they want to cash out an Ortiz, I won't even go near Chisora, but White, if they want to cash White out, maybe a Joyce is a possibility. I don't know. What do you think? Leave your comments below. Who would you like him? Who would you like him to face, Joe Joyce? Who do you think he'd beat? And what do you think the likelihood is of the people that you'd like him to face actually facing him? I mean, those are 3 separate questions. But leave your comments below. I'm interested to hear them. Yeah, and as always, thanks for your time. Subscribe if you're new. Like the video, hit the like button. We want to build the channel up. Appreciate your support as always. Speak again soon. Bye for now.